Please welcome Margaret Cyphers.
This is awesome and totally terrifying to talk on courage. I've been thinking about this for weeks, and originally I kind of, RJ said that, you know, hey, would you mind talking at a little breakfast?
That's how we did.
Yeah, this is a big breakfast. But so I've had basically, you know, probably a good month when I saw that we were going to have this at the Denver Art Museum, and we've gone from a breakfast that I was picturing to a much larger crew. So thank you guys all for coming. Thank you, RJ and Creative Mornings, for having me. So this is definitely a moment of courage for me. I don't actually love speaking. Once I get up and it's over, it's awesome. When it's over. But so I did have the bad dreams. Literally, I'm not even making it up for this. I woke up probably last week when I really started thinking about this as it was getting closer, and I was sitting in the audience, probably where you were sitting right there, and I'm watching other people talk. Probably RJ's up there, I don't know. And I kind of didn't think it was my day, and they call my name, and I'm in my pajamas, and my slide deck is half done, and so hopefully I do a little bit better than it went in my dream. So this is the little girl that I feel like, still trying to grow this muscle, even though it's been a long time. So after 25 years, you know, I think I realized too that it wasn't something that you're not born with it, or at least I wasn't. Maybe if you guys are lucky, you were. But for me, it was something that happened over years, partly through life, partly through career, and it definitely is something that you need to work on and grow. So it's going to change, or it has for me, what it looks like, what courage looks like for you at age 5, at age 15, at age 30, and a little bit later. It's going to change, and I'm going to share one of my first memories. So I was 5. My mom, we had 3 girls, I was the youngest. I did find out I was a mistake. Thanks, Mom. But so she loads up the station wagon, kind of Chevy Chase style. We're headed to the beach. I'm in the car. There's friends in the car. My 2 sisters are in the car. And I don't know how many of you remember this. There's a third seat way in the back that turns around the wrong way. So I'm sitting in the back, and a rare moment, I was kind of quiet that day. Didn't happen often. So my mom's driving to the beach. She pulls off to the gas station. Which you can see here, she documents, but she pulls off to the gas station. I run to the restroom. The car, you know, is kind of crazy, and I don't think she heard me get out. I come out of the restroom, and she's gone. So I don't know, I think probably a good 20 minutes or so. My sisters probably didn't say anything for a while on purpose. And my mom finally kind of clued on that it was a little too quiet even for me. So she notices I'm not in the car. I can only imagine the terror on my mom's face, right? She's forgotten her child. Even though I'm 3, she still liked me a little bit. So I come out of the bathroom, and I'm standing there at the flying mobile gas station. Again, I don't know why my mom actually documented that she did this. I come out and they're gone, right? But she says that I was smiling and holding the gas attendant's hand. Now, at 5, I definitely didn't know that was courage. But when I look back, that was probably one of those moments where it was the first time I remember. I'm sure I was terrified on the inside. I mean, you're 5, and your mom leaves you. So, you know, you just have to sometimes, on the outside, be confident. So, again, that is my gas station moment, and I'm sure you all have one if you think back. You know, what is your moment? What are those moments that you've had that maybe evoke a little bit of terror and having to fake it? Those are moments that you grow. If you survived middle school, you have courage. If you wore this hairdo, like flock of seagulls, so this is me. I actually had the courage to walk in school with that hairdo.
Woo!
Yeah, point being middle school. So have the courage to be you. Courage in college, you know, that looks different for different people. Some people stretch to, you know, hit a super prestigious school. Or for me, I had grown up swimming age 5 on and kind of competed. And as high school was getting done, I thought, you know what, I'm I'm gonna just move on. Gets a little dicier at the higher levels. So I had contemplated taking the easy path. Was ready to go to a different college, and at the last minute I decided I wasn't done. I just kind of had that, I felt like I needed to give it a little bit, one more try, right? Even though I knew I wasn't going to be top dog, for sure. At the end of the day, I think I had to tap into who I was and take the risk. So I ended up going to University of Minnesota. Woo! Woo, go Gophers! Yeah. And then I got injured, and so I did this instead. That's the University of Minnesota River Rats water ski show team. I actually didn't have a picture that I did. That is the team, but that's not me. I don't know if I ever did it that well. But yeah, we climbed on top of each other, and we did barefoot water skiing. And for me, it was courage to try something totally new that for the first time, I was good at swimming. I mean, I'd been practicing long enough. If I wasn't, there's something wrong. I hadn't practiced this. And so to take a leap of faith and do something that was new for me and learn something and get out of my comfort zone, that was courage for me. So even recently, I've struggled with courage. 2.5 years ago, I took a job at Google. I had lived in Vail, Colorado for the last 20 years. Yes, I had a job. And, just the courage to move my family. Speak with my husband, work through all that. We decided to make the move. That was a big deal for us. I'll talk a little bit more about that. So here's just a couple stories for me of courage. And I'm going to talk through just a few more things now related to more career. So I hope you guys can put a little bit of a lens on this for you. My first lesson career-wise was really to have the courage to accept that you don't know it all. So courage to accept that you don't know it all and to learn from others. And that includes swinging like you're going to hit a home run no matter what. When I was in college, I took the leap of faith to apply for an internship and got a job at a place called Campbell Methune, which is a big ad agency in Minneapolis. It's turned into McCann Worldwide. So it's fairly large. But the important part of that for me was to realize, looking back, I walked in with the typical kind of college designer ego. I just thought I was pretty good. I was surrounded by 700 people that were way more talented than me. And I had to figure out really quickly that I needed to learn from them and have the courage to put my ego aside and learn in whichever situation that I was put in. Now I figured out super sexy, where's Jim? Shooting refrigerators, not super sexy, okay? But they gave me this job. I realized later nobody else wanted it, right? They sent me to the middle of Columbus, Ohio for Frigidaire to do that. So when we were out there, it was kind of just me, because again, I don't think anybody else wanted to do it. And we had a photographer on site, we had a set designer, and I think a food stylist. And I had to learn from those people. They were kind of the ones helping me through it. And I had to learn from the people at the agency as well. So I decided I was going to make it the best that I could. And I was going to put in my time, and we stayed late, often very late. We shot more refrigerators than I ever knew were available to man. And we came out with something really nice. So when I went back, again, it was just I think they were happy with what came out, and hopefully surprised that the intern kind of maybe kicked in into high gear a little bit. But whatever you're working on, whether it's shooting refrigerators or something else that might seem small to you, just knock it out of the park. And have the courage to follow your passions. So I was at this ad agency. My parents were probably happy to see me kind of make it through college and land here, right? 700 people. It's kind of a normal path. You're going a good direction. And then I keep thinking, I'd just been skiing in Colorado, and I just kept thinking, my God, that was really awesome. The Minnesota winters are no fun. And it just kept calling to me. And I went and I talked to my parents after doing a little homework, And I'm sure they were pleased. I told them that I was going to quit my job and I was going to move to Colorado and take a job at this little tiny agency in Boulder, Colorado. Nobody probably had heard of them. I mean, a few people. It was good. They were talented. But I'd never been here. I didn't know anybody. So I just felt like I needed to do it and make a change. So you have to have the courage to, that's it, yeah, it's a good picture. Nice haircut again. There's a theme of bad hair throughout all of these slides. I do recommend finding a job before you quit your job. But in having the courage to try something new, that also includes the courage to fail. So for me, that looked like, sort of, I went into, it was probably a year, and I got called into the owner's office at this company in Boulder, the 6 of us, and essentially, I got fired. Like, he didn't really say that. And I maybe should have known that it wasn't a great fit before that happened, but I got fired. I had to call my parents and tell them I didn't have a job. I'm sure once again, they're like, yeah, you're doing great. But for me, it would have been more of a failure. I don't look back at that as a failure. I would have failed if I hadn't tried, and if I were still enjoying the Minnesota winters. So for me, it's, worst case, say go for it. So that was a lesson, one of my first of many, in embracing forced change. And after that, I think I hit some of the agencies in Denver, and I went on just went on my own for probably a year. Was doing consulting and just meeting people and kind of making your own path. I could have gone back to Minnesota and tail between my legs, said it didn't work, and just go back to the agency if they would have had me. But instead, I took another turn. As I was looking for a new job, or just, a new kind of freelance gig, somebody mentioned, hey, there's this company in Vail. I was like, Vail? I think I perked up. Seems pretty good there. And they're trying out this thing called the internet. You want to see if that goes anywhere? So I call my parents and I tell them I'm moving to Vail. And they, I'm sure, went, wow. But so, this was a moment where I was kind of thinking, all right, career suicide. Again, I just kind of made one bad decision, and here I go again. So I joined a company called Eagle River Interactive. Met this group of people, who are still many of these people, great friends today. And we worked really hard, and as you can tell, we also played really hard. Our office was literally at the base of Beaver Creek, and we are famous on the Wayback Machine, or the Wayback Machine. If you haven't checked it out, you have to. You can type in any website name, and it will show you all the way back in time. So yeah, 1996 was kind of when it started. Ta-da! So Corporate Express is one of the first sites that we did. I can't believe I'm actually showing you this. This was a really big deal. The fact that we got this stuff to show up on the screen for you all, and the fact that we had images, and then like a couple weeks later, I think we had a moving pencil sharpener. That was freaking awesome. Note that we made you follow the arrow to the size of your browser. We had shockwave. So we had it all. But we did practice. Sorry, this is a little blurry. But we practiced. And we got pretty good. So we did websites for Pioneer, for Disney. We ended up working for Sharp Electronics. We did work on 3M. And it came upon some forced change that in this case was actually good. We were bought by a company called Agency.com, or merged with, and we became the biggest interactive agency in the world. So it turned out okay, Mom and Dad. So all of that to say, you go through highs and you go through lows. And another low was just around the corner. So the middle of the .bomb, I don't know if anybody's heard of the .bomb. We get called into a conference room, actually it was 2000. So we get called into a conference room, and imagine walking in and you have a job, like a job at one of the big ones. You walk out of the conference room and you have no job. And now imagine you're 9 months pregnant, ready to give birth to your kid in a week. So, unexpected. But at the end of the day, you just have to be able to roll with it. I know that seems oversimplified. There's nothing I was going to do about it. So I went and I enjoyed having the birth of my child and focusing on that for a while. But then I decided I didn't want to give up working outside of the home. So I made my own path, and I hit the pavement again. And some of the people I had worked with at agency.com, there were hundreds of us, right, that get laid off. So we kind of started making some networks. And I talked to some of the people that I had been with in Denver, talked with people I had worked with at the old agency. And you kind of make this little network of people. But the point is, nobody's going to do that for you. You have to put in the time, and you have to want it. And I think the important part there is just it's your choice. And if you're not willing to be done with what you're doing, put your own focus and put in the work. I didn't sleep a lot. When the kids were sleeping, I was working, but I loved what I did, and that's why I didn't give it up. So stay connected, make your own path. Don't play it safe. There is no courage in playing it safe. I think in some of the experiences that I've just talked about, but also in your work. So I'd say kids are 5, 6, headed off to kindergarten. I decided to go back full-time. Somebody called seeing if I'd be interested in taking a creative director role at a company called RTP Interactive. So I take a job at RTP as their creative director and worked with some amazing people again. And they all make me look much more talented. And we did things, this isn't going to look amazing to you, by the way. This is a long time ago. This is like 10 years now. But we did things like putting the first video on a homepage. Again, doesn't seem like a big deal now, but that was a big deal to sell through to your client. That was a big deal to, we worked hard, we worked late to figure out how that was even possible with download speeds, being probably 28.8 at the time. And we made the first mobile websites, and people thought we were crazy. They said, nobody will ever buy anything on their phone. Right? You could have all purchased something while I was talking. We did microsites and things like, this is a microsite for Beaver Creek that another talented designer did most of the work on. And the stretch here was Beaver Creek, their clients are these, higher end, it's mostly parents that are buying these trips. We took a leap of faith and really marketed towards the kids, and we made a microsite where you could go into each one of these kind of terrain parks or different areas and explore it, and we made a bet of these are influencers. So we're going to invest some money here to influence the parents to take the trip. Responsive websites. We have Brangelina, which I see that this is old because So full screen imagery, responsive websites, and we enjoy doing a lot of that together. And again, so you see a theme here. We get bought by a company called Active Network. Some of you may know. Large software company, and that one for me was maybe not as expected as the first time. We were pretty happy with how things were chugging along. But we get bought, we go public, I meet more great people, and kind of, I'm learning to roll with it a little bit. And I just decided that I was gonna take that opportunity to keep learning new things. So I learned software. I always said I would never work in like hardcore tech, never work in software, ever. And I am totally so in both. So kind of by accident, but I did have to kind of roll with it a little bit. So more of that forced change happens, and you have to pick and choose in that moment what you can affect and what you can't. So I couldn't change the fact that we were going to get bought. There's been things in my career at every single company, including Google. I can't change everything. So pick those pieces that you can change and move on. So the companies are also, you have to remember companies are also going through things that maybe are even out of their control. They're public. right? You have to make some hard decisions. But you have to be able to divest yourself from that. And at all my jobs, I've seen whether it's projects get canned, budgets get so low, there's no possible way that I could do anything with the budget that you've given me. And sometimes people get let go. Companies have to let good people go. For Active, I had the challenge of being told we were going to move half of our team to China. These people were amazing, and I ended up so thankful to get to meet them, but I wouldn't have picked it. What I could control was I could have hired a team of people, and ultimately it was done for production, right? So the choice was, am I going to have it be that they're just production workers, be seen as widget makers? And I didn't want to do that, so the part that I took hold of was pairing up one of these people from China and somebody from the United States in our design team here, and I had them get to know each other. Every week they would meet. And they got to introduce each other at our weekly meetings, and it made it personal, and we helped each other, and they were amazingly talented. I'm very thankful for that. So, with the hard changes that you're going to go through, because you will, everybody has those they're thinking of, or they might be around the corner, but you need to have your tribe of people that you're going to lean on. For me, it kind of breaks down to home tribe, work tribe. Thank you, work tribe. Home tribe, my mom probably called it stubborn, but really, she's always just built confidence in me. She's, I call her probably every week. So for her, that's really important. My friends, super cheerleaders. They're also good at drinking wine sometimes. But they're also my confidants when things are challenging, as is my family, of course. My kids, my husband, the amount of support that they've given me through, especially the recent move, it's been amazing. Work tribe, you're gonna have your teammates, it might be peers, could be the people in this room, so industry, right? So just be thinking about when you're crossing paths. It can even be, I got two or three old bosses that I still talk to on a regular basis, and they've helped me through some tough times. And I think just making sure that you stay connected, make sure that you have that group of people for you, makes all the difference in the world. For some people, not so much for me. Social networks, LinkedIn, for sure. Some people tweet all day long. Whatever it is for you, just find those people that can help you through some of the challenging times. Probably the example I have of somebody making or helping me through this kind of fearful time is a friend named Debbie, and we're close to get the offer from Google, and you might be thinking, you'd be crazy. My mom was probably thinking, you'd be crazy not to take a job at Google. It actually was not a total slam dunk for me. It's a huge job, and I was gonna have to move with my family from somewhere we'd been for 20 years. We love the small town. I love that I know everybody at the post office, right? But I called her, and she's somebody I'd worked with in the past, and she said, you need to make fear your friend. Take a leap. What's the worst thing that could happen? And, my husband had kind of said the same thing. You at least have to try, right? I'm still here. They haven't fired me yet. So 2.5 years later, I'm glad I tried. Worst case is you fail. Right now at Google, I've taken on an additional role because I wasn't busy enough, apparently. And we'll see how it goes. It's a lot of work, and I was a little bit terrified. But same thing, I think when you know that you love it, you just have to try. So hopefully I've given you a few tools in your chest. That's really bad. Sorry. Just pick one thing or two things that you heard me talking about as far as courage in a career, and pick what that means to you and flexing muscle in your own career. For you, it might be stretching into the uncomfortable, might be aligning your career more with your passions, might be leading the way and trying something really different. But whatever it is, I would set actionable goals, ask a tribe member for help, so that somebody can help keep you accountable and, you know, aim big. So I was told there were going to be a nice group of quaint people for breakfast. I was terrified, and I made it. Yay!